G'day, it's Damned here, and I'm going to give you a really short intro to the Kids on Bikes rule set for Fantasy Grounds. Now, kicking this off, this is a community rule set, which means you have to install it manually and you have to keep it updated manually. So you have to check back here to this thread every now and again and uh, grab any updates when they come out and install them manually. So you install this pack file into your /rulesets folder, and then you close Fantasy Grounds and reload it, and then you'll be able to create a new campaign with the DBR KOB rule set. That's just a damned basic rule set for kids on bikes. Now, a damned basic rule set is a basic rule set. It'll have a good working character sheet and NPC sheet, but it might not have too many other frills about it. So, like on the combat tracker, now this particular game system really doesn't need the combat tracker. Most of the roles are done by players. A very small number of roles are done by the GM, and not a huge number of actors for the GM to manage. So it's pretty straightforward. So let's have a quick look. What you want to do when you first load up the rule set is you want to go into Options and Sidebar, and you want to just activate the backpack, floors, strengths, and get those activated, and then we'll go and have a look at characters. So Sammy West is a character from the free RPG Day free adventure. So basically you have your trope here. So this is outsider, whether you're an adult, a kid or a teen, your portrait, name, age, fear and motivation. Now some of these will develop as your character develops. Then a description, and the description here can go a little bit longer. It's something mostly for the player to develop and to keep track of. Now most of your roles are done here with the stats. We have 6 stats. We've got fight, flight, brains, brawn, charm and grit, and each one of these will have a dice in it, so from a D4 through to a D20, and there can only be one of each dice. 6 dice, 6 stats, and basically you drag a dice into each of these fields to set it up. So you could drag your 20 into fight, your 12 into grit, your 10 into brawn, going for a pretty physical character here, and a bit light in the brains and the charm. Now also 2 of your stats you get a +1 modifier, so you click those and they'll add +1 to the roll. We'll switch back to our Sammy West here just for this roll, and we can see if you're just doing a skill check, you can just roll the dice and it will add it up here. We roll a 17, this is a +1 stat, so the result is 18, and it's Sammy West with brains. Now typically the GM will give you a difficulty number. They'll say it's a 5 difficulty, and when you roll we'll see the descriptive text here, so we can see it's an easy challenge with a target of 5, and we rolled an 8 +1 to give us a 9, so nice, we beat that by 4. So you can role play that. You might get an extra advantage, you might do something with a little bit of extra style, say something, and you can see here that the target has reset after the roll. Say we're doing something that's particularly difficult and we're using our grit. 12 is a pretty high score. We get 10 +1 is 11. Oof, so close. So that was a difficult challenge at 12, and we came pretty close. Now another thing you can do to influence your rolls is you can spend an adversity token. Double click on that. Sammy spends adversity. There's a +1 modifier. If we do that roll again, let's say it's a target of 7 this time. We're still using grit with a D12. Still a pretty difficult challenge. Okay, we rolled a 5. We got a +1 because that's our +1 stat, and we got +1 from adversity. So grit and adversity. Moderate challenge 7. Phew, talk about cutting it fine. We just scraped in on that one. If the GM awards you extra adversity tokens, you double click the arrow to increment them. it reports to chat. If you wanted to give an adversity token to one of your other fellow players, double click the hand here. Now it will decrement from here, but it won't automatically add it to the other character. So Sammy spends adversity on a friend. That friend would then just put a +1 modifier in their roll. Then we've got your strengths and flaws and your backpack. Basically, you just double click on the chat icon and it just reports what's in there. So Sammy's going to use prepared, and Sammy can spend 2 adversity tokens to just happen to have 1 commonplace item with you. So Sammy would change this from 3 to 1, and then can say that I just happen to have that length of rope with me. I'm a park ranger. It would be quite normal for me to have rope handy. That's pretty much it for, okay, not quite. So if you're doing an attack roll, get the attacker to roll first. So the attacker will roll first. Let's have a quick look at the NPC sheet. We've got Jackson here. Jackson is, what have we got here? Maybe with charm. Jackson is being quite sharp-tongued and trying to embarrass Sammy. And Jackson rolls a 2, not a particularly hard target. So before Sammy rolls, puts a 2 in the attack value because that's what her attacker rolled. And then when she fights charm, she's going to just try and ride through it using grit. She rolls grit, and the 10 is obviously going to beat that. So grit, defense versus 2, defender wins, and then we've got the defender narrates the outcome. So Sammy gets to describe what happens after that attack because she comprehensively defended herself against that. Let's just try another one. We've got another someone fighting with brawn. Someone's trying to hold Sammy down, hold her back from a fight, and Sammy is also going to try and use brawn. So as an 11 is the attack. 11 here in the attack field. Sammy's got a D10 in there. This is going to be a very tough challenge. Sammy's going to spend an adversity token and hope like hell that she rolls high. And she rolls a 7. The attacker wins. So the attacker was Jackson. The attacker explains their attack and the defender explains how they respond. The attacker then explains how this barely mitigates the harm. So Sammy was held back. She struggled. She tried to do some sort of martial arts move to get loose, and but Jackson was able to move with Sammy and keep her restrained. So she's unsuccessful, but no real damage has been done. That's it pretty much for this system. So we've got character sheet, NPC sheet. I really recommend that you use player agency with this rule set because it's very much there's a lot of collaborative world building going on here, and it's investigative. Players will, or characters will want to record notes on everything and everybody they meet in town as they explore their way through the town and go from mystery to mystery. I hope you find this rule set useful, and I'm open to any feedback. I don't intend to build this out into a fully fledged rule set unless there's a lot of interest in it. So let me know how you go with it. Thank you.